Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be going through one of the most basic crochet patterns, which I think every crocheter should have this pattern in their arsenal somewhere. It builds up very quickly, it's a great beginner's pattern. It is the granny square. Granny squares usually are used to make blankets, but a lot of people make other items, like you can make using the same stitch you can make ponchos, you can make granny squares and change them into cardigans. There's so many different things you can do with the granny square. And I've noticed that a lot of patterns across YouTube, people do their granny squares in different ways, so I've done some examples for you. So this is the basic granny square. You see this one actually quite tight on how it looks. This one I did using 2 chains for the corner, which don't worry, we'll go into all of this as we get to it, but yeah, 2 chains in the corner, and there is no chain between each of these clusters, which, as you can see, makes quite a tight granny square. This is actually how I normally do my granny squares. This is using a 4mm hook. This is also using a 4mm hook, but I have done this one, which, as you can see, is a lot. The holes are a lot bigger than they are on this one. This has got 3 chains in the corner, and between each of these clusters, I've actually put a single crochet. So as you can see straight away, the size difference between these two. And that was also using a 4mm hook. This one I have made in the exact same way as this one, where I have 2 chains on the corner, no chain, in between each cluster. This was made using a 5mm hook, which again you can see there's a difference, and this second one has come out bigger than this first one. And also with a 5mm hook, I have remade this one, which again you can see is even wider. So this is the one with a 3 chain in the corner and 1 chain in between each cluster. As you can see, this is a lot wider. I still prefer this one. I think it's because for blankets I like them to have, a little less holy. And as you can see, this is a lot stiffer than the likes of this one. But today I will be going through doing it with the 3 chain on the corner, 1 chain in between. If you want to do it this way, then like I say, it's just 2 chains in the corner, no chain in between each one. You would just go straight from doing this double crochet straight into this one. But like I said, I'll be showing you how to make it where you have 1 chain in between and 3 on the corner. Okay, so to begin with, this is the yarn I'll be using today. I've caked this up myself. This is Emu yarn, Emu Classic Double Knit in the colour Salmon. This is actually one of my favourite brands of yarn to use. I love their range of colours. The only colour I have an issue with is I'm not keen on their choice in green, because I want more like a holly green, but the greens they have aren't quite what I want. But the rest of their colour range I absolutely love. I love their double knit yarn. I also have used some of their treasure yarn, which I believe is more like a baby yarn. But they do also have chunky yarn. It's worth going. I buy this from the Knitting Network, which I will leave a link below to this yarn. It's worth going on their website to have a look at what they've got. The hook I'll be using is a 5mm hook. This I can just use whichever hook goes with your yarn. Okay, so first off you need to do a slip knot. A lot of people do slip knots in their own way, so if you can do a slip knot, just make a slip knot. How I do it is hold it like that, wrap it around my fingers, cross it over at the front, and then on the back, take your hook, go under the first loop, over the second, hook it on and pull it through. And then just pull the knot tight, and as you can see, it tightens up, so there you pull it tight onto the hook like that. Okay, then what you need to do, is you need to chain 4. 1, 2. So if you don't know how to chain, it's yarn over hook, and then just pull it through. There you go, 3, yarn over hook, pull it through. Now I have seen some people do the granny square where they make a magic circle. Now, if you're new to crochet, I would not worry about doing a magic circle yet. You can actually use a chain to make a circle instead of your magic circle. So if you ever see a pattern and you can't do the magic circle, you can just use a chain and then make a ring from it. I find I use a magic circle for the centre of my granny square, it's very, very tight. So unless I am doing a slightly different, a variant on granny square, which I'm not going into today, you need a tighter hole in the middle. But for this, just chain 4, insert your hook back into the first chain, yarn over, pull through both loops. And what that does is that's a slip stitch. And then if you can find your centre, just make that a bit bigger so I can see. There you go. Centre of your circle. Okay, and what we're going to do is hold on to that so you don't lose the centre of your circle. Yarn over and chain 1. Oops. Is it not working? There we go. 2 and 3. Sorry, I've lost my tension there. There we go. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to be doing double crochets, which in the UK is known as a treble crochet. In each cluster you have 3 double crochets. However, because I've chained 3, this is technically a double crochet, so this will class as 1 double crochet. So for the first double crochet cluster, I'll only be doing 2 double crochet because, like I said, this counts as 1. So to do a double crochet, yarn over, insert it into the centre of this circle we've made here, yarn over, pull that through. So you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, you want to pull through just 2 loops, 1, 2, and then you've got 2 loops left, yarn over, pull it through both of those. Okay, same again, yarn over, through the centre, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, so that's our first cluster done. What we need to do next is a corner. Now, like I said, in this example, I'm going to be doing my corners as 3 chains. So like I said, if you want to do 2 chain instead, that is fine. So you yarn over, you chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're now working on the next cluster, which will be 3 double crochets. So you go yarn over, through that centre hole, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And once again, yarn over, through the centre, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then one more, yarn over, through the centre, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, through 2 loops, yarn over, through 2 loops. And what we're going to do is we're just going to continue that around, 3 for a corner, and we need 2 more of these clusters. So if you do 3 for a corner, another cluster, 3 for a corner, another cluster, and then I will explain then what we're going to be doing here to attach it. Okay, so this is the last double crochet of this cluster. So as you can see, we now have 4 clusters. So what we want to do to attach here, you need to make your corner again. So we go 1, 2, 3, and we want to slip stitch into the top of this chain. So if you push your hook through the top of this chain here, oh, if I can get it through, there we go, yarn over, pull through both loops. Okay, so now that we've got right round to here, we're going to slip stitch into the top of this chain here. So you put your hook through the top of the chain. There we go. Yarn over, pull through both the loops if you can. There we go. I struggled there. That was a bit tight. Okay, so that's the first round finished. What we're going to do for the second round, normally I turn my work so I work in the opposite direction every round. The reason I do that is because for me it helps keep it a bit more square. Some people don't do this, but if I don't, I find my square starts to slightly go at an angle. For the second round I'm not going to turn, just because of where the first chain starts. So if you do 3 chains, okay, this is going to be the very last double crochet on this round. So what I mean by that is I will be working double crochets into all these corners, but this, on this corner, will be the last of the last cluster, but you'll understand what I mean in a minute. So if this is that, the last cluster, this is the last double crochet on the cluster, you need to do a chain, because like I said, this one I'm actually doing chains between my clusters. Yarn over, insert your hook into the big gap here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So what we're doing is just making the same clusters you made here, yarn over, through the hole, yarn over, pull back through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. Now if at any point you do feel it going too fast for you, feel free to pause the video, slow the video down. We all learn at our own paces and we all crochet at our own paces. I mean, I found that the first crochet video I ever did, I put into slow motion and literally followed it stitch by stitch. Now I find myself racing other YouTubers just to see if I can beat them whenever they're doing something in real time. But yes, if you need to pause it, you know, if you need to rewind it, just keep watching, and you will get it, you know. So yeah, yarn over, through the hole, yarn over, pull back, yarn over, through 2, through 2. And then just as we've done in previous rounds, chain 3 for the corner, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, make another cluster, there we go. And like I said, between each set of clusters, apart from the corners, I was putting one chain. So yarn over, chain 1, then we work a corner into here again, which is another cluster, 3 chain and another cluster. So what I will do, if you keep going round, you do cluster, 3 chain, cluster, 1 chain, and then to work the corners again, cluster, 3 chain, cluster, and I will meet you back round here. Okay, so now we're into the last corner. Yarn over, do your 3 double crochets to make the first cluster. Okay, do your 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and then as I said, because we've already got technically a double crochet here, which is a chain 3, you only need on this last cluster to do 2 double crochets. So yarn over 1, oops, and then we'll do another one, and like I said, this chain 3 will make the last double crochet. Just if you count your chain up, 1, 2, 3, you just need to slip stitch into the top of that chain, because obviously you need to keep one of the chains on the end because that sits between your 2 clusters. So slip stitch, there we go. Okay, so that is round 2. So if we, this, like I said, this is where I will now turn my work, because I like to work in by turning it every single round. So if we chain 3 now, 1, 2, 3, this will now be the final double crochet of the last cluster again. So if we do a single chain again, so that makes 4 in total there, and then we're going to make a corner here, okay, and then 3 chain, now the nice thing with a granny square is you can change your colours every round if you want. You can make lots of squares and sew them together. Like I said, you can make a blanket, you can make cardigans. There's a lot of things you can make with a granny square. I've also seen people make rectangular granny squares, but it's nice because this is the type of pattern where you can make it with scrap yarn. You can just continuously go round and around and around until you run out of yarn. It is one way it could just be an infinity, and it is very easy to finish off as well, which once we've done the 4th round I will show you how to tie off your work. I have seen some people sew them together using, I think it's a mattress stitch. I have made a few things out of granny squares myself. I do have quite a large granny square blanket on my bed, which actually was made by my mum before I could even crochet, which I believe is about 10 years old now, but I mean it's still going strong. It sits on my bed every winter. And also, just like I said, granny squares work up very quickly, especially once you've got the hang of it. Yeah, they can build up very quickly, and they're just nice if you want to make a gift for somebody. A granny square blanket does not take long to make at all. And there's also other ones where you can make kaleidoscope granny squares, which make it look like you've got your square and then the next one is twisted. I'm in the process of making one of those for as a Christmas present, so I can't show that on camera just yet. But it's also nice because you can use pretty much any size yarn to make a granny square. The kaleidoscope one I'm making at the moment is super chunky, and I have to use a size 10 hook for it. This is a 5 mil hook. Oops. But yeah, so you just keep going round till we get to that final cluster. And then just as we did in the final cluster of the last round, we'll only be doing 2 double crochet. Woo. Oh, that says right for going too fast there. And so sometimes I can really get into the swing where I will just very, very quickly crochet, and then sometimes I have to go very slow because my brain can't catch up. Also a thing where people do worry about tension. It took me quite a while to work out the most comfortable way to hold my yarn. A lot of people hold it very differently. I've seen people wrap it around their little finger as well. Some where they wrap it around every single finger. For me, I've found that this is my most comfortable way. All I do is I have it under these 2, over my middle finger, and then sometimes I'll wrap it like that around my middle finger, sometimes I don't. In this case, I am doing it that way. Depends what I'm comfortable with, depends what I'm in the mood. But like I said, it took me a long time to work out how I would comfortably sit with my yarn to get the tension. Okay, now into the last cluster. chain 1, so 2 double crochets, oops, yeah, there we go, and I did 3 then. Okay, and then same as we did last round, we got 1, 2, 3, top of the chain 3, push your hook through, which I am for some reason struggling to do. I think I've tightened this too much. Bear with me. I don't know why I can't get that through. There we go. Yarn over, pull that through, pull that through. So what we're going to do, I'm going to finish this round, and then I'm going to do one more round but in a different colour, just to show you how to change. So this is also emu yarn. This is in the colour pumpkin. So I've just finished this round, and what we're going to do is I'm going to slip stitch again, pull that through, and I'm going to cut the yarn, pull the loop through, and pull that tight. Okay, and then what we're going to do, I'm going to turn it now, so remember to turn it. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to make a slip knot, just like we did to begin with, pull that tight. So at least we have now a loop on the hook. We're then going to choose whichever gap you want. I'm going to go with this one just so I can anchor that down slightly. I will cut the end off afterwards. So I'll lay that down on top, put my hook through, pull yarn over, pull it through, and then just make a slip stitch. So just pull that loop through so there's only one left on there. Now that has anchored it onto your square. Then do a chain of 3, 1, 2, 3, and there is your first double crochet. And then you will just carry on round the edge as you have done in previous rounds. So this is the first double crochet in this cluster, so you need 2 more. Go 1, and then we go 2, go, and then you chain 1, and then yes, you just carry on, and when you get to the corners you just do 3 chains. When you are doing your clusters and it's one of the sides, you just put one single one single chain between each of the clusters, because if you do 2 it won't make the gap wide, it will start making it into a corner. I don't know what the science behind it is, but that's how it works. So yeah, I will finish this round and see you at the end. Okay then, so we're on to the very last cluster. Okay, and then just as you have done in previous rounds, so you chain 1 to bring it over here, and then you slip stitch into the top of the chain. Ooh. Into the top of the chain if you can get your hook through that hole. Like I said, for some reason my hook doesn't want to play ball today. There we go. So pull it through. There we go. Then if you want to carry on, you can carry on. If you want to change colour or even finish, so just pull that through, cut your yarn, pull that, there you go, and then you can weave your ends in. You can weave them in now or when you've finished. As you can see here, I've got, but there you go. So that is how you do the granny square. I said it's always a handy pattern to have, especially so you can make some very quick gifts or blankets. Like I said, you can make a lot of things with your granny squares. I hope you've learned something today. I certainly have, which is to make sure I stick this mat down because it keeps moving. I catch it on my watch every 30 seconds. Yes, I hope you learned something. If there's any tutorials you would like me to do, please comment. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.